Welcome back to the Legal Vixen Podcast. My name is Karen Kenny, trial attorney. You've been here before, and I want to thank you for coming back. Today, I have a very special guest with me, somebody I used to work with in the public defender's office, who's now a personal injury attorney, Case Barnett. Hi, Case.
Karen, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to get to talk to you today.
I haven't seen you in so long, so I was so glad you could make this work.
Oh, for sure. For you and to talk about this stuff, I'm fired up. It's going to be great.
How long were you at the public defender's office?
6 years. I was able to do my felony panel rotation and try those cases. And then I got out, worked for my dad for a little bit.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, did some criminal defense for a little bit outside the office. And then a buddy of mine who does insurance defense was like, you'd be so good at trying these plaintiff's personal injury cases. You got to start doing it. So I picked up a couple cases. And then he actually gave me a brutal liability, a big damages brain injury case.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really cool because their firm had it for a long time, and it got thrown out on motion for summary judgment.
Mm-hmm.
They got it back on appeal.
Oh, wow.
And I got to try that case. Got a great verdict. And
Did you?
Yeah.
How great of a verdict?
Well, I stipulated bifurcate liability and damages, which typically from our side we never do because we want the sort of damages to help pull the liability. Mm-hmm. But I was afraid in that case that the jury would hear how much we're asking for and then hurt us in the liability. Because my guy was volunteering at his church, and he put a ladder on a table, then climbed up the ladder and pulled himself up on a wall and then fell off the wall.
Oh, jeez.
So it was a really tough liability case because he did all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But he'd been taken advantage of by the pastor at his church.
Oh, wow.
Kind of took advantage of how nice he was.
Mm-hmm.
But so the jury gave us a 49%, 51% split on responsibility.
Okay.
And so we were able to settle the case after that.
Nice.
So the offer went from $100,000 to settling the case in the solid 7 figures. So,
nice.
Yeah, so that was like the springboard for everything.
So what I've always wanted to ask you since you left the public defender's office, because I left in 2012. You left before me?
I think just before. I was like 2011. Yeah.
Okay. And I don't think we ever worked at the same court together. Our paths never crossed, but we'd always see each other.
Correct. Yeah.
So I've always wanted to ask, do you miss the whole criminal part of things, or do you like personal injury better?
That's a great question. I miss the people in the public defender's office. I liked sitting. We'd grab lunch and everybody sits around the table and turkey shoots the cases. That I miss. But what I don't miss is talking to jurors when my client is accused of doing some horrific act, right? I mean, you remember in the PD's office, like the better you get and the longer you're there, the worse your cases get.
Yeah.
Right? So now with the personal injury stuff and representing victims, I get to learn and tell the compelling part of the story. Like we'd meet these people in the PD's office and you'd hear the terrible backstory. Yeah. Right? I mean, just awful.
You're like, what am I going to do with this?
Just awful, right? And then and then it's hard to marry yourself to the idea that, this defense is bigger than this one case, right? Yeah. I like having the case now where the case is the case and it's important to this person's life.
Right.
And so I just love that part. And their history matters. And getting to spend time with them and go into their home, it's awesome. When you go in their home, you really get an idea of who they are, right? And then you get to tell that story to a jury. And so it's awesome. I love it.
It's funny when we talk about the public defender's office because remember one of my best friends in the office was Erica.
Oh, awesome.
And we hung out all the time. So we would be talking to each other about our cases, and we'd be like, I don't have a defense. So it'd be like, okay, it's time for the backup drama plan. So we had this thing we would do where we would figure out something in the case where we could cause drama that doesn't necessarily go to like the legal things that the jury has to decide. But if we could make a big deal out of something, we would, just hoping that we had something because we had nothing. So I think it helped us to be creative, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it makes me think of, I love the show Mad Men.
Did you ever watch
that show?
No.
Oh my gosh. So I'll try to package it up as quickly as possible. But the lead guy on it, he's a marketing guy for all these big corporations like Big Tobacco. And Big Tobacco comes to him.
Oh, okay.
It's like set in the 50s, 60s. And they come to him and they're like, how's his problems? And he's like, if you don't like what they're saying about you, change the conversation, right? And that's that, right? You come up with something. But I think doing that made us great lawyers because when you got to try those bad cases, everything else in comparison is a walk in the park.
Well, you're just like, okay, what am I going to say? And then the jury just looks at you like they hate you because you're representing them. You're like, I'm just the lawyer here. That was the hard part on the bad cases. But hey, everybody's entitled to a defense.
Yeah, but it is so hard, right? Because
Yeah.
you want to connect with the jurors and earn their trust,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, you're telling the story, you're trying to piece together a story or come up with something.
Yeah.
You know, but having done that, it's like baseball players when they put the donut on the bat, they swing a heavy bat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you get out and you take that donut off, and oh my gosh, lawyering is it's easier.
Yeah,
you know?
it is. It's so much easier. So I've transitioned in the last year to I just really want to do jury trials. So I'm of counsel to a insurance defense firm that I've done 5 jury trials for now for
That's awesome.
like premises liability. I did an insurance bad faith one, a couple car accident cases. But that's why I wanted to have you on, because I'm going against these PI lawyers, and I know you're not like this, but some of these PI lawyers I've been against were just so shady.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? This is like fraudulent.
Yeah.
The one that I just got a verdict back yesterday on a civil case where the plaintiff's attorney was asking for $4.3 million on a case where the guy walked off a stage and he hurt his foot, but nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And thank God the jury did the right thing and we got a low verdict back. So
Mm-hmm.
my client was happy. But sometimes I'm just beside myself. I did a deposition yesterday where the more I questioned the plaintiff, I could see that this was attorney-driven treatment.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if somebody gets injured and they're looking for a personal injury lawyer, what would you tell people to look for?
So I get almost all my cases from other attorney
Referrals. Mm-hmm.
right? And so I think
Wait, you don't have a billboard on the 5 freeway?
I'm lucky. You know, you and I have done the work, right? Like we went to the PD's office, we're in the courts, and we've tried the cases. So we've earned that trust, right? And so all these criminal defense lawyers send me cases, and I think the best place for people to start is to go to someone they trust, who's had direct experience with the lawyer, you know? And I think that looking for someone who tries a lot of cases, I don't think the billboards are necessarily a red flag in and of themselves. They're just
Maybe the cheesy jingles?
the cheesy jingles might. They might, you know? But I think that it's just evidence that they have marketing money, right? I think that one place actually that's helpful at times is their Instagram accounts. And I say that because there are firms that just do good in the community, right? And it's sort of this top-down concept. And I hesitate to use the word vibe, you know?
Yeah.
But you can kind of tell if they're doing good stuff for the community, they're likely also doing good stuff for their clients.
Well, I've never looked at it that way, but that makes sense.
You know, because I've been thinking a lot about this, but I think the easiest place to go is just a personal referral, right? Because then that person is investing their relationship capital, right, by referring this lawyer, and so the lawyer's invested in it.
Right.
So I think for you and me, as opposed to most lawyers, because you've tried the cases, it informs your ability to analyze a case properly, right? And so I think a lot of attorneys, they see these big numbers that happen on cases, and so do the actual plaintiffs.
Yeah. Especially on those commercials. My lawyer got me $5.2 million.
Right. You know, people think that's my case, but the lawyers also think that's my case. And they will be blind to certain facts. And they get themselves deep in a case and invested, and then they start doing shady things because they're in over their heads. You know, and I think that happens a lot.
Yeah.
So, but circling back, I think that personal referral is always the best way to go. You know, and then I also look for trial experience. Because I think if you know what's going to happen in trial, then that will help inform how you analyze the case, how honest you can be with the client, right, from the very beginning about whether the case is good or bad.
If you're evaluating a case and you're like, ugh, and it was a referral, and then you talk to the person, you're like, this just isn't something that I would suggest taking on. How do you approach that since it was referred to you?
Sometimes what I'll tell them is there's other firms who are a little more liberal with their case intake. You know, I tend to be more conservative.
That's good. And you have a good reputation because of that.
Yeah, you know, I try not to get those cases, you know, where you're arguing something to a jury. I spent enough years arguing difficult stuff to a jury, right?
Yeah.
So I think that I do it like that. And my referral partners are I have a great relationship with them. Because in California, it's called fee split. Where
Yeah, how's that work?
So it's just the contract's got to get signed with the lawyer that you have the fee split with, and the client has to sign off on it. Technically, it's at the time that the agreement with the other lawyer becomes official.
Okay.
So when you and the lawyer figure out what the fee split's going to be, but we always do that up front because we just have like standing fee splits really, and the client just signs off on it. And so I tell the client at the beginning, hey, look, here's the deal. These lawyers are friends of mine. They have their reputation invested in the case also. They're not just sending me the case because I'm sending them a referral fee, right? But I tell them that's the nature of the relationship, and I want to take care of my people who trust me. And so when the case settles at the end, then I give them a percentage based on what that contract is. Typically it's like 20 or 25% of the fee. So, but I just have really good criminal defense lawyers who I've done good work for, and they're people.
Yeah.
And then my dad included.
Oh, that's right.
My dad's a criminal defense lawyer.
Yeah, your dad's a goat.
He is unbelievable.
It's John Barnett, in case anybody was interested in this.
And so he, for years, just would send personal injury cases off to other lawyers and just be like, call this guy. And he wouldn't sort of capture it and make sure he got the referral fee. But, he's put in the years of work for the reputation and the relationships. He should also get to capitalize on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he knows I'm going to do the good work, So,
yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there a specific type of personal injury case that you prefer over others, like car accidents versus premises liability? Med mal? I don't know if you do med mal.
I do med mal. Very selective with the cases because those cases are really about the economic damages because there's caps in California on the pain and suffering damages.
MICRA, is it called?
Yeah. So that's moving. It's inching up over the next couple of years. Something was signed recently, last 2 years about that. So it's inching up. But I think the sexual assault cases, rape cases, things like that, I think that those are, having done the other side of it in the public defender's office and kind of understanding how impactful it is on people, these I don't want to say psychological because it almost sounds not real, right?
Yeah.
But sort of that pain and suffering, I enjoy articulating. We talked about it before we went on camera, but the brain injury cases, I find fascinating because I love the science behind it, and the injury is typically difficult to document and relies a lot on storytelling, right? How the person has changed, the people around that person who can tell those stories. And so I really like those kinds of cases too. So whether it's a traffic accident, premises liability, sex abuse, whatever that, I'm sort of more looking to the client and the person and the stories. That's what I find compelling.
Got it. How many cases would you say you try on average a year? Do most of them settle, I take it?
Yeah, most of them settle, I think, because of the cases that I take, right? We try to be selective on it. And for the most part, those cases will settle, but I probably still end up trying 3 to 5 cases a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
That's
it's different.
Still a lot.
It's still a lot, but it's different than, my dad doing criminal defense who's trying like 8 cases a year.
Yeah,
You know
your
what I mean?
dad is a machine.
He is a monster. He's a beast. I had Judge Donahue tell me, he goes, I know where your dad's going to die. I was like, what?
In the courtroom?
Yeah, he goes right there at counsel table.
Aww.
But he loves it. He has a passion for trying those cases. But I think that for the most part, the cases settle because we get good clients too, because we get that personal referral typically. And so we're selective, and when we have other lawyers and doctors and judges even referring us cases, we get a different type of client.
Yeah.
And so
not somebody that was watching TV at 2 a.m.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and I love that because they get to, I always tell people, I'm like, I'm not the trust me lawyer, right?
Trust me.
You know what I mean? I want to show you everything so you can understand what we're doing it, when we're doing it, why we're doing it. So
that makes sense. I have a funny story. It's a trial story I did. I'm not going to say his name, but it was a trial I did with Judge Schaller, not the one I just finished. It was another one. And the plaintiff's attorney was asking for a lot of money on something that was just, in my opinion, attorney-driven. It was clearly attorney-driven with the damages. And when he's doing the jury selection, he would tell the jury, he would throw out softball questions. Okay. And I don't like to do just softball questions because no one's answering you. If you're like, anybody here, blah, 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 and no one wants to talk. Yeah. So he throws out a softball question and no one's saying anything, and he goes, does anybody want to talk to me? Anybody? Anybody? I'm not kidding. He did it every single time. By the 10th time, I was just like, I can't sit here and not burst out laughing because what are we doing?
Is there anything worse than watching another lawyer who doesn't know how to do voir dire panel?
It was so bad. And I was like, I started to giggle and I'm like, I can't do this because then the jury's going to see me giggling. I'm like, but you just need to stop saying that.
It's so hard. Because the thing is, like, someone who doesn't try cases, they can put together an outline and a script to ask a witness questions. But when they have to sort of like vibe with the jury, talk to a jury, respond to questions and not have everything formulaic,
it's
ugly.
It was bad. And that one actually was a defense verdict. He was so upset. Because he was asking for a lot of money, but there was a lot of problems with this case.
When you see the good voir dire, though, it's different. You see the good voir dire, and it's night and day between somebody like that, you know? And they're connecting with the jurors, and the jurors are talking, and they're getting all this information, and it moves, you know? It's unbelievable, the night and day difference. And I think that's the biggest thing when you're dealing with someone who tries cases and someone who doesn't, you know?
I want to ask you something because this case, they put the plaintiff on last. And I was thinking they would put him on first because, you know, I've done probably 100 criminal trials. This was my 5th civil trial, so I'm still learning the civil realm. I mean, trial's trial, but there's certain things I don't, like strategy and stuff from plaintiff's lawyers. And he put on his, like, an expert first, and then he didn't put on any fact witnesses except his client, but it was at the very, very end. And I'm thinking, how are you laying the foundation for anything?
So the plaintiff side, so every year there's a big conference.
Oh, okay.
And whatever ideas are put out in this conference, people tend to take with them.
Oh, I see.
But it always changes. You know, there's a long time where, like, plaintiffs are like, you have to have your client there throughout the whole trial. The juror's going to judge them and not allow, you won't give them money. Now the idea is you don't want them there, the plaintiff, because they're going to get judged by the jury all the time. And they're going to see him get this person's okay. So those ideas switch. Putting the plaintiff at the end and the expert at the beginning, they want to lean in this idea of primacy. That the jury's going to hear first this expert witness. You're going to have trouble cross-examining the witness because the witness is so good.
Oh, I see.
And so then the jury's got their mind made up. By the time they get to the plaintiff, the case is already won, and the plaintiff is just sort of sprinkling a little bit on top.
Okay.
But you you need fact witnesses. You need people in the person's life to give context, to tell because if you put the plaintiff up there, I feel like the jurors are like, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
But you put in people in their life, they're like, I've seen this. I know the person before. I know the person after. You know, I think that's the most powerful stuff for the jury.
This guy put on his sister.
Moderately helpful, right? I mean, it's better than nobody. But
yeah, she gave me some golden things that I don't think she realized I was going to ask her.
Yeah, well, because you try cases, so you know the stuff. You know how juries respond to stuff. You know what I mean? But I think that's probably the idea. So a really good plaintiff, you might want to move forward in your lineup, but it's still hard to start. I mean, I very rarely do want to start with the plaintiff.
Oh, okay. So they don't usually start with the plaintiff.
No, you want someone who's going to, like if you've got a great fact witness, you know, who can go up there and be like, this is who the person was, you know, especially if it's not someone in the family. Yeah. That's a great place to start. Or if the liability is really offensive, someone up there to get the jury a little upset. You know, that's a big thing. There's a book that came out a couple years ago called Nuclear Verdicts.
Oh, I've heard the term.
Yeah. There's
defense firms are always like afraid of nuclear verdicts.
Yeah. And so there's a defense lawyer who wrote that book, and it's all the ways to sort of take the steam out of plaintiffs' cases, you know? And so they talk about, like, a lot of them will admit liability in trial because it pisses a jury.
I've done that a couple times.
Yeah, because it takes the steam out. And then so you might get a plaintiff's verdict, but it's going to be far less than if you went up there saying, I have no idea what happened, I didn't do anything wrong, right? Because then the jury wants to send a message with the verdict. Right? Yeah. Excuse me.
That's so true. So the case I just finished, the guy had an Instagram page, and his was private. But what we were able to do was search hashtag his Instagram name and found everything that he had been tagged in since the incident. And he was claiming like he had this foot injury and he had to have surgery. Well, he would wear these cowboy boots all the time that he still kept wearing, even though his doctor was telling him, hey, you got to lay off the cowboy boots. So we were able to get in all of the Instagram videos of him like having a good old time in his cowboy boots, like dancing around, clicking his heels together.
It's death. I mean, that's death from our side, right? Like, jurors see that, right? It's one thing to tell stories and then have to explain it.
What do you tell your clients about social media?
I mean, we have them sign something.
Oh, you do?
Actually sign something at the beginning, and we give them all the information. Social media will damage your case. It'll blow it up. Please don't post anything. If you are going to do it private. But you got to understand, even if you do it, we have to sign it. Because even if your client does one fun thing in 2 years, right, and it's actually good for them to go out and do that thing, right? Jurors you're telling the story about how terrible their life is. If there's any pictures or video of them having fun, you got to explain it, And one of my dad's favorite things is he'll say, it's like cutting your face up. You sew it up real good, but, it's like don't cut your face to start with. Yeah, you still got to deal with it, And so there's explanations for it, but man, that's bad stuff.
Yeah, and what was funny is when we found all this stuff right before trial, the person who was posting it, he was one of the fact witnesses because he was at the rehearsal. He was the reason that plaintiff was at the rehearsal to begin with, and I'm like, clearly nobody told him.
You did not. Don't. I mean, that's the thing. It's too dangerous. It's too accessible. Like we tell our clients, look, if you care about your case, right, and not getting it hurt, just don't post anything. Take a break. Shut it off for a while. So
another thing I wanted to ask you about is prepping your client to testify at their own personal injury trial. Have you ever had situations where you spend all this time prepping and then your client gets up there and you're like,
oh yeah, I mean,
what?
That's really hard, Karen. It is so hard because they are who they are in their core, and things are. So you prep them as much as you can, and you go through it as much as you can, but they still in the stress of the situation, right? Like the stress of it, like that's the way the courtroom's designed that way.
Yeah,
is to pull that out, and so it happens. It's so. That's the hardest part. It's just like at the PD's office. If you ever call your client, which
I hated, I never wanted to do.
It's
ever.
Just, you dread it the whole morning, the day before, and they get up there and the whole time you're just like, oh gosh. And until the defense lawyer finishes the cross exam, because you're always waiting for that shoe to drop, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna ask that question, they're gonna have the impeachment thing, and then the case is over.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
That's so funny.
I try to keep it super short.
Yeah.
I try to keep it super short and get it done. One, because the longer it is, it opens them up. But two, just because my stomach hurts so much the entire time they're testifying. I'm just worried.
Have you had a client up there where you're like, he never told me that?
Yeah.
He never told me that.
Well, or there'll be the one thing. It's like, okay, look, just do you, be you. You're an awesome person. It's going to go great. But there's one issue, and this is how we need to talk about it.
Right.
No. It does not go that way. And it's like, that's why a lot of times we put them later in the case because you hope that the jury already has their mind made up, and then the client gets up there and those problems don't make a difference.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the idea generally.
That's so true.
It's hard though. It makes me trials are stressful anyway.
Yeah.
Right. But that is the hard because you're also trying to watch the jury without making them know you're watching them.
I hate looking at them.
Right?
Like I don't look at them. I just like act like they're not there because it'll just get me off my game.
Yeah, but it's hard. But you also so I usually have somebody in the audience watching for me, telling me, hey, juror number so is doing this, and juror number this is doing this.
Juror number 2 is falling asleep.
Right? Or they're rolling their eyes at you, or like, oh man, it's so hard.
We had that in this last trial. This guy, he showed up to jury selection with sunglasses on, and like not a hat. He had a mask on it. I can't remember what it said, but it had some type of message that I couldn't really make.
Okay.
But he ended up on our jury. I think we just all ran out of peremptory challenges.
Yeah.
And he was late every day.
Oh.
The judge had to admonish, the jury, like, hey, we can't start till everybody's here. And he literally sat in the jury with like sunglasses on. I don't know if it was medical or not. It could have been. but we always thought he was sleeping because he was just like sitting, like staring straight ahead. He wasn't even like watching the witness. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how this is going to go.
The trial I just did in December, we were trying to jam it in before Christmas, and we gave the jurors an estimate.
Oh, I hate doing trials around the holidays.
But for plaintiffs, sometimes you get, they call it Christmas bump.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's again, a theory. Who knows if it's right or not. But we picked the jury. It took us 3 or 4 days. We got the jury. And we had 2 alternates for like a 3 or 4 week trial, which probably wasn't enough. But the next day, 3 people called in sick. We almost lost the whole jury.
Oh, my gosh.
The judge called them all up, said, what's going on? Like, how are you? And we got 2 of them back.
Were they really sick, or they just didn't want to be?
I think they were really sick.
Christmas shopping?
Well, I think the one guy was not. The one guy who stayed out of it. But the other 2 were like, this is what's going on. And it got pretty graphic, actually, because the judge pushed a little bit to find out. And so the jurors were like, one juror's like, I got diarrhea. We're like, oh.
You're like, TMI.
Okay, well, it sounds real, Your Honor. I mean, open court, that's what they're saying they got. They probably
was
got
that
it.
in Orange County?
Yeah.
Was it in front of a judge that I would know?
Verdosi.
Oh, Brad.
He was awesome. He was great.
Really?
He was so good.
I did a juvie trial with him.
Oh, really? Yeah. He was awesome. He is so good. He's measured. He's great with the jurors. I just, like, so there's actually a lot of good Orange County civil jurors, or civil judges.
Oh, that's good. I know some of them are DAs and were former DAs and former PDs. The last time I looked at the civil list, because now I'm doing civil trials, and our firm does have Orange County cases. I'm like, hopefully I get sent to somebody I worked with.
Yeah, because all over the place, right?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how many of them are on the bench now, and a lot of them are doing civil. And like the second or third floor over there at Santa Ana has like Bethune and We Win and Justin Glenn, and like it's crazy. It is crazy.
I did a prelim with Justin Glenn. He was so funny.
Oh, you guys amazing.
Yeah, he was so funny. He couldn't control his facial expressions.
That's Justin.
Yeah.
He's so good.
He was good. That case turned out really good, too. But the DAs they shouldn't have proceeded on it. It was a felony, and it should have never been a felony to begin with.
Yeah.
But they're going to do what they're going to do.
That's for sure.
Do you still do any criminal, or no? You're just like...
No. My civil practice is too strong. Like, and I just find myself, like, just not wanting anything to take away from that.
Yeah.
And I like doing the civil trials like we're talking about. Like, it just is more fulfilling, the whole thing, So I'd rather send that to one of my referral partners.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who send me cases, and just works out better.
I mean, the majority of the criminal stuff I'm doing now is federal criminal, San Diego, Santa Ana, and L.A. So I'm not in state court as much as I used to be. All I want to do is the jury trials, trial lawyer for hire.
That's what I'm saying. Well, the civil stuff's great because, for me, I love taking expert depositions, but I hate written discovery.
So do I. Or motion work. Or I don't want to, the deal I have with the firm I work for, somebody else is doing all the prep. I literally come in to just try the case. It's the best.
See, I so at my firm and now with the firm I'm working with, Axe Law, I love because they have infrastructure. And so we sit at the beginning of the case and we do a path to victory, path to justice, whatever you want to call it. But we sit down and we game plan the whole thing.
Oh, in the beginning.
In the beginning. So there's who are going to be the essential witnesses? What are the depositions have to be? What are our strengths, weaknesses we see as we see them right now?
Wow.
And so that helps kind of get the ball rolling. And so we can check in on the case and check on each of those items. It's just a living document. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's perfect.
And so that way I can check in around, because most of the cases have the same issues. Like a brain injury case, they're going to be focused in at the incident. Did the person lose consciousness? Do they have anterograde or retrograde amnesia? Did they go to the ER? All these Glasgow Coma Scale. There's certain things that are always there, and then you want to get those fact witnesses. There's certain things that are just in all those cases, and so you want to get them at the beginning because that's going to make a difference if you're going to settle the case or not.
Oh, that's good that you guys have that sort of thing up front where you're actually evaluating and strategizing up front.
Yeah, and it's helpful because if you run into a really good defense lawyer, right, they're going to set up the case the exact opposite way, and they're looking at the same issues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're doing it in discovery. And they're sending the written discovery that is going to highlight those issues, right? And that's where they get 1 or 2 answers. The last case I did, the defense firm did a great job. They keyed in on 2 or 3 issues, and they kept that consistent through the written discovery, into the depositions,
Oh,
and into
interesting.
the trial. And so it makes a difference if that work, as much as we like trying the cases, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're only as good as the facts and stuff you're given.
that's true too.
Like you're the best lawyer in the world, but if you got some not great facts, you gotta deal with what's in front of you.
And depending on like the motion in limines
Oh.
hearing, like motions to exclude evidence, you don't really know what's going to be excluded until you're doing the trial.
Yes, yeah. Well, I'm sure you're like me. Where like it's like I think I can win any case. You know what I mean? Like I get
good.
myself drinking the Kool-Aid and like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Right. But there's sometimes they're just bad facts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you remember Steve Penkoff?
Yes.
So when I was a brand new public defender, brand new, Dave Dorokowski put me in he put me in an office with Steve Penkoff. And so Steve Penkoff was a retired CHP, and he was crusty, might be the appropriate word. And I remember when I lost my first trial, I came back super defeated. I was like, I screwed up the whole thing. And I sat down, and Steve looked at me, and he goes, Case, did you follow that motion? I was like, what motion, Steve? He goes, motion for change of facts. And I was like, but it kind of pulled me back into reality. Like, that case sucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't my fault. I did everything I could, and like...
But we had to, as public defenders or any good criminal defense lawyer, you have to believe what you're putting out there. So you get so enveloped and emotionally involved with what you're presenting that in your mind you're like, no, I really should win this.
Yeah.
And when you lose, like for me, it would take like 3 days to realize I'd be so bummed and pissed off. And then like by day 3, I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, that was a bad fact. Oh yeah. But it that's the hard part because you take the losses hard.
Yes, exactly. I mean, tell me more about that because I suffer from that. Like,
we need therapy.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It is so hard because you have to believe it because the jury's going to see through it, right? They're going to see, but it hurts when you lose, no matter what, right?
Yeah. I thought like this last trial that just ended yesterday with a verdict, I was like, this has to be a defense verdict. How are they going to give this guy any money based on everything we pointed out? And then when we could tell by the jury questions that they had moved on from liability to damages, I was like, I was so mad. I was like, what?
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And then when it came out lower than the like 998 offer, I was like, okay, that's still a win for us. I'll take that one.
Yeah, but it's so we try to read the tea leaves, like the jurors, who's talking to each other, it's unbelievable how invested in that you get.
You know what? Okay, so another fun difference between criminal and civil trials that I had no idea until I was doing my first, was it my first or my second civil jury trial? The jurors can ask questions.
Well, so
I was like,
I have a lot of judges
Schaller allows it.
Yeah, Schaller allows it, Erdosy does not. And so different judges handle it differently.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so the trial I had with Schaller, there was a juror who, in jury selection, he goes, I'm on the spectrum, so you know, and that's what I have going on. And I had a jury consultant with me. And the jury consultant, I was like, what do you think? And he goes, the defense won't keep him. And the guy ended up on the jury.
Oh, wow.
And he told us in jury selection, he goes, I'm going to ask a lot of questions if I can ask questions. That's what, and he asked a lot of questions. And he ended up dominating the jury. After the jury, I called my jury consultant afterwards. I was like, bro, like.
What did Schaller like?
Schaller. I mean, he's Schaller's so respectful.
Yeah,
and
he
kind,
is. He is.
He lets it happen. Just sort of all happens. But I think that it is hard for us being trial lawyers to not identify with the work and the trial and take it like. Separate like who we are from the verdict. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that that's someplace I feel like I've gotten a little bit better at in the last couple of years. Right? Is like not identifying like I'm a good person because I got a good verdict. You know what I mean? Or I'm a bad person because I got a bad verdict.
That's so true.
But it's hard to get to that place.
Yeah.
Because you get so emotionally invested in it and you identify with like the client and the work and the whole thing.
There's also been cases that I've been assigned to do trials on for the firm I work for, and then I put all this time and this effort, and I'm getting into like, yeah, we're going to win this, and I've got my whole plan laid out, and then it settles.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You guys gave that person what? You guys gave that person money after I did all this? Like,
yeah. Oh,
that's hard.
That's hard to, because you start believing, you get into it, and I don't want to waste my time. It feels like I wasted my time.
I know.
Right?
Ugh.
And you come up with these great ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And in the case where you got the great ideas on, those ones are going to sell. Like, that's just what happens, you know?
It's like a punch in the gut.
Oh, yeah.
I get the email, stop all work, case settled. I'm like,
what?
How come no one told me that was still a possibility?
Oh, man, it's so hard. And then I'll be in a mediation, and I start having to pull myself out of it because I get in the place of, like, I'll have the case prepped. I'm like, I'm ready to go. We're going to crush this thing. But then I have to back out a little bit and be like, well, that doesn't mean it shouldn't settle. You know what I mean? Or, there's a number in there, and it's hard to, like, extract myself to do, like, a sort of, like, unbiased assessment or what the real value of the case is. Because we have to, like you said, we got to convince ourselves the case is a winner.
What do you think? Because I'm not involved in, like I said, I just do the trials when they realize it's going to go there, usually. But mediation, because I've never been involved with the mediation part of it on a personal injury case. Like, do you like the mediation aspect of personal injury cases? Do you think it works? Is it expensive?
It's super expensive, but I've become like a mediation dork.
Well, that's good if it works.
Well, I like the psychology of it.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's weird when where you place numbers near each other impacts how people view the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes sense. Like, it's just the dynamic is weird. How it's able to settle cases, or we do things like brackets, where sometimes it'll be like, if you come up to this number, we'll drop to this number.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a way of making like an informal offer. You look at the midpoint.
Okay.
So you're actually offering the midpoint without officially offering it. And there's something weird psychologically how that can dislodge a settlement. Like dislodge, when people are loggerheads on a situation.
Okay.
It's so weird. But I've become fascinated in like how those dynamics work.
And then you have these mediators, like the case that I just finished. We had a mediator that was still kind of involved, and I'm like, wait, what are we doing? Like,
yeah, they're back channeling all the time, and these mediators are great. Like I had a mediation a couple months ago, where, it was like a 9-hour mediation. The first 7 hours, I was ready to leave, and the mediator had to keep me at the table. And I'm like done. I'm like, this isn't going to settle. Why are we wasting our time? He's like, just give me. And sure enough, in the last 90 minutes. We had a 7-figure delta change. Like, it was
seriously?
Like, oh my gosh, it was unbelievable. Like I can't give too many details on it, but it was like unbelievable.
Wow.
How he's able to move the chess pieces in this mediation to get a case settled that I didn't have any chance ever of settling.
Wow.
So it's actually I've gone from the trial lawyer perspective of like, let's just put the thing on, like who cares?
That's me. That's all I want to do. Let's do the trial.
Oh man, I brought my dad to a mediation once. Oh,
You did?
They made an offer. My dad just started packing his things up. And I was like, no, no.
He did not.
It was like 10 minutes in, and he's just like, forget it, we're out of here.
Okay, that's so funny.
Oh man, it made for a great good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
But he was legit, just like, I don't do this.
Oh,
I don't deal with the numbers. I just go put it on. Like.
That's so funny.
Yeah, but it's weird if you're able to sit there, and sometimes people just gotta blow off steam or whatever. People gotta be heard or like.
It's so expensive. I didn't realize how expensive it was. Yeah. There's a mediation that just happened in a case where I got my client out of it, so we didn't have to do the mediation. But there's a retired federal judge who's doing mediations now, and I saw the fees, and I was like, what?
$18,000 for a day.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah. It's insane. But, if it gets the case settled, because I always think about in the hours spent on the case and then the money invested in the case, like, these big cases that you're trying, that I'm trying, like, these are $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 in expenses.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Lot.
And not even the hours. Right?
I know,
not even
it's
the
a
time.
lot.
And then you get 12 jurors. You don't know. With my dad said 12 licensed drivers. You get 12 licensed drivers. You know what I mean?
That's
and 20
so
minutes
true.
to talk to each of them, like,
That's so true.
I've learned to like lean into the mediation experience. I dig it. And there's so many good mediators out there.
Are there?
Yeah, it's good. They go to mediation school. And they do
wow, there's a school for that?
Oh, there's a school. Because it's big money.
Can I go to that just to get the schooling?
I think you probably could.
I want to go to the mediation school.
But they do these funny things in the mediation that if you really look below the surface, like they're just not manipulating, because that's not the right word. It has like a bad context to it, but they are affecting it's almost like they're changing the sight lines. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They do these little things, and it's super effective, and it gets the cases settled, and it's good for everybody.
You know who I think, since they retired, I think they're doing mediations or arbitrations is Goethals.
Goethals, yes. Goethals is doing.
I want to have him on my podcast, but I don't know if he'll come.
Oh, he would be so. You know, his son.
I love Goethals.
I love Goethals too. I have cases with his son because his son does medical malpractice defense.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
That was my very first job as a lawyer, medical malpractice defense.
Okay, those are medical malpractice cases are hard. We do them, but we're very selective with them. But he's on the defense side, and he's just like his. You know, it's awesome.
Does he look like his dad?
I've only dealt with him on the phone. I've never actually had to like. But every time it's so funny to talk about trusting lawyers, and it's unbelievable when you can establish that relationship, and it saves you time, saves your clients money. You just call somebody up and just, jam through it. But yeah, Goethals.
I love Judge Goethals.
I do too.
I need to send him a message to see if he'll come on my podcast. But
I bet he'd do, especially now. I think that the mediators, they need to be out there so people know that they're mediating the cases.
Yeah,
right.
It's true. It's like free advertising.
Yeah, because it's just like us, right? Like we got to generate cases too. They got to generate cases, and there's people who are booked. Some of the mediators are booked out for like 6-9 months.
That's insane.
Every day for like 6-9 months.
That's insane. Have you ever done an arbitration?
No.
I was hired, a couple years ago to do an arbitration for. It was another attorney, but she was a party, so she couldn't be the lawyer on the case, her and a business partners. And it was the craziest process. Like doing an arbitration where the rules of evidence don't really apply. And I'm like, wait, I can't object to that? Like, you're going to still consider that? What are we doing here? What are the rules?
Right. So I've been sent to arbitration, and we've done stuff in the arbitration. We actually have to put the arbitration on. I think we didn't have to because I do a lot of elder abuse cases.
Oh, okay.
And so there's they sign the arbitration agreements.
That must
a lot
be
of those.
Sad. Well, that's another.
It's all the bed sores. Oh, the stuff you see is just it is so bad because those corporations making all this money.
I'm glad I know that because if I ever get any calls, I'll know where to send them.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad because they make so much money and they maximize it's that classic story of maximizing profit by minimizing patient care. You know what I mean? There's a conflict in their business model.
Wow.
So, but yeah, those cases are hard.
Yeah, There was also, back in the public defender days, there was also assignment that I never wanted to have that thank God I dodged was dependency cases.
Oh, me too.
Because I was like, I couldn't emotionally do it.
No.
And just hearing, because I was in juvie and we were on the same floor as the dependency people. So just hearing stuff, I'm like, I don't know how you guys do that. Same. I couldn't do it. Juvenile was hard. Did you ever do juvenile?
Yeah.
It was sad.
It was sad, but not like my buddy Chris Taylor was doing dependency.
Chris,
yeah, he was doing dependency, and Matt Mistaken, like everybody. So, but Taylor was doing dependency when I was doing juvie.
Okay.
And so I no matter how bad my stuff got, it was nothing compared to.
He's like, dude, I got one up on you.
Oh, it's so hard.
And they'd be in those assignments forever. It seemed like 18 months. I'm glad I never had to do that.
Yeah, well, and you don't. They're court trials, so you don't get the big hammer of like, let's get 12 licensed drivers in here. But come on, see what they say. You know what I mean? It's just the judge is telling you, well, this is what I'm going to do, and you're like,
that's so funny.
Okay, all right.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So you've been doing personal injury for how many years now?
13.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just the best though. I love it. I love. There's something about the high stakes of it too, and having tried the bad cases we have, to then go and once you get over, for me, the hurdle of talking to jurors about money, because it's still weird to talk, like
it is.
money, like.
As a defense, I'm like, oh,
they're talking about money. Like, look at these guys greedy, yeah. Once you get over that hurdle, it's awesome, and the storytelling, like I know you love storytelling. Like,
yeah, I love the drama because jurors are so used to TV.
Yeah.
And who wants to be a boring lawyer in court? Like, no one wants to listen to a lawyer in court, right? You need to, stand out and be different.
Yes. And I try to talk to jurors as people, not as the lawyer. And I think it's disarming to the other lawyers in the room. You know what I mean? It's always disarming because I get to go first talk to the jurors. And so if I do a really good job in my jury selection, it can knock them off their feet a little bit.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I totally connect with those jurors and I'm connected to them, and then the defense lawyer gets up and they're doing their very defense lawyer thing, you know, it's a great place to start a trial from.
That's
you know
so
what I mean?
true. I think, I don't mean to dish on other lawyers, but I think the people that have been like public defenders and district attorneys that we've just had so much experience doing trials, we're so much better trial lawyers than like people that just went into civil that just didn't get that experience.
Yeah.
They can't think that fast on their feet.
I see the cross-examination because as public defenders, that's what we had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's my favorite part.
Right? And so I cross-examine experts differently. You know what I mean? I think that's something that we do differently. And I think it's cool for jurors because it's kind of it's as close to the TV stuff as you can get, you know, because you set them up and then you can get them with something.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's sort of part of the fun part about the civil cases too, is you can actually get some meat on the bone to do something.
Yeah, I have this funny cross-examination story from the very first civil trial I did with one of the partners that the firm I do stuff for. This guy owned a Range Rover and was out driving during COVID on the freeway, rear-ends some lady, and his car gets screwed up, and the insurance company ended up replacing his engine, but it wasn't good enough for him because it was still having problems. And he was like, you should have replaced my car. So he's up on the stand, and of course I'm going into, well, you remember it was COVID, right? Everybody's at home and you're driving out on the freeway. He's like, well, yeah. And I go, do you think COVID existed? Was it real? He's like, yes. So then his body changes. So, and I'm doing like the pacing thing, and I'm like asking him a question, then I'd pace. So I'm doing the pacing, and he's literally sitting against the witness stand like this.
Oh, stop it.
I'm not kidding. And it was so like this, and it was just so not normal. Like, it took me a minute to register, like, look at his body position. That doesn't look natural.
Yeah.
So then it hit me, and so I'm like, I turned and I looked at him, and I said, I noticed the position of your body right now, specifically your right-handed, your chin. And I go, are you flipping me off? The jury was like, oh, the judge was like, he's like, no. He clearly was.
Oh, and the jury knows, right? The jury knows it.
Yeah.
Like, that is amazing.
Yeah, it was a defense verdict.
Real quick, I saw, I got to tell the story in the right way because I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. But there's a public figure in Orange County who got sued for the way he handled his team and the people under him in his position of authority. It was an employment case.
Okay.
And so that individual was the last witness on the stand for the trial. And the plaintiff's lawyer was cross-examining him. And it's all about like harassment and how he treated his people. And
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And so he exploded on the plaintiff's lawyer.
In front of the jury?
In front of the jury. And so that was the last witness before closing argument.
Oh,
So
he's done. That explains the verdict.
Oh, he gets off the witness stand, and the first thing the plaintiff's lawyer does when he stands up in front of the jury, he just goes right in and he goes, can you imagine what it was like
To work for him.
Miss So-and-so to be in a room with him? You saw what he did to me in front of all of you with a bailiff in this courtroom and a judge and all of you here deciding the fate of this case, and he's treating me like this. Can you imagine what it was like for this person in this little room with him and his other minions? And it was like game over.
Yeah.
Oh,
that explains it. Because I was like, what? That explains it. I didn't know that part of the case.
So powerful.
Interesting.
It was but those are those moments of theater that every once in a while you get trying the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good.
Man. So before we wrap up, do you have any type of advice that you would give to people if somebody gets, severely injured or a family member, like what they need to do to make sure they have a lawyer that's, I wouldn't suggest necessarily calling people on TV, but that's just me.
Yeah.
What they need to look for?
I think so. That's a great question because you get so overwhelmed by everything, So I think the first thing is that they need to not talk to the defense. Insurance company's going to call you.
Oh, mm-hmm.
You don't have to take their calls.
That's
they
so true.
play these games.
That's the first thing I look at. Let me look at the claims file.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
it's a claim adjuster job to save them money. And so they do things like, oh, we're going to close your file. This is your last chance to get money. You know, it's how these insurance companies have their names on stadiums everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Is they hose people. And so the first thing is you don't have to talk to them. The second thing is make sure that you're journaling. I tell my people right on the top of it for my attorney-client, and I have them journaling stuff because their deposition is going to be taken 18 months, 2 years, maybe more from these instances.
Oh, and you don't have to turn that over because it's
attorney-client privilege. It's for me and the person, and so
perfect.
Because it's hard because it's my job to get somebody money, but I can't tell a story that I don't know.
Right.
And so stuff blends together. It's the nature of trauma, right? You have trauma and everything just blends together as this like hard time. So really delineate stuff, and I tell them to make sure that there's stories, because somebody told me once that if you put two pianos in a room and you strike a chord in one piano, that same chord in the other piano vibrates, right?
Oh,
And so
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
and I took piano.
Truth. I don't even know if it's true or not, but it's great for an illustration that's how stories work. Stories resonate with jurors, right? It's one thing to tell a juror, well, my pain was 8 out of 10, or my leg hurt. It's something different if you're telling a story like, I couldn't go to my daughter's recital. She was working for all this, you know what I mean? Or things like that.
Yeah.
So that part of it. I think those are the most important at the beginning. And then once you can come up for air, I think that avoid people who come to you. Because like I had a case recently, wrongful death case, I was telling you about, where a law firm sent someone to the woman had lost her husband, sent someone to the house with flowers offering to pay for the funeral.
Stop.
Stuff happens. It legit happens. I think it's a minority of the time it happens.
That's such a red flag.
Oh my gosh, huge red flag, right? So you stay away from those people.
Yeah.
There's also people who have relationships with people in the hospital. You get someone in the hospital, the nurse will be like, oh, I know this guy. So you stay away from that stuff. And then go to people you trust, I think is a really important thing to do. Go to people you trust who can hopefully refer you to somebody. And then I think you look for culture. You know, you look for a law firm that that their culture resonates with you, and you connect with the people, because that's who you're going to be dealing with.
Yeah.
I think that there's benefits to big firms versus small firms. Like there's benefits to both sides, but I also want to you got to make sure that you're getting that person, right? That person is going to be doing the real work on your case. Now they're going to have they got to delegate the work.
Yeah.
Right?
Team. It's a team.
Yeah. But I think that sort of laying out those questions, like who's going to be doing what on my case, what's my exposure to you going to be like, you know what I mean? Like I'm sure you're the same way, where my client gets my cell number, they can text me if there's issues. Like I think that's important.
Yeah.
But I think those are the pieces of the puzzle at the beginning that I would tell someone to look for. Interview people, because again, see who resonates with you.
Yeah.
Right? Because that person who resonates with you is probably someone who's going to resonate with the jury too. Right? And resonate throughout the rest of the case.
Yeah. So true.
I think those are kind of the best ideas I got right now on what somebody should do.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, and we will see everybody for our next episode.